Today for you, I'm presenting my final reflection on ISTE standards for teachers, and to do so, I created this Prezi presentation to go through each of the standards and show some of my work that I feel accomplishes these standards. So to begin, we'll discuss what are ISTE standards. The website describes ISTE standards as a set of standards for teachers that promotes technology integration in the classroom. These standards help design, implement, and assess student learning experiences with technology. So for me, this is seamless technology integration, which is something we talked about at the beginning of the semester. It is incorporating technology seamlessly in a way that is easy for students to understand and engage with, and the technology enhances their education without prohibiting or inhibiting them from any kind of learning experience. We use the technology to provide extra practice, provide support for students who may have a disability or who need the support, and to provide a creative outlet for students to demonstrate work in a way that they may not be able to. So the first standard is to facilitate and inspire student creativity and learning. A substandard of that says to promote, support, and model creative and innovative thinking and inventiveness. So for me, this first standard is basically hitting on the last point of the previous slide, where we are supposed to provide creative outlets for our students. We're supposed to model how to use the technology, teach them how to use it, and then allow our students to practice using that technology. This is an outlet for students who may struggle with writing papers or presentations, because now they can create something and present it to the class without having to get up and speak for themselves. We can use technology to enhance that as well, but this is just stating that the technology is supposed to support our students. And I felt that this was accomplished through my graphic organizer. So here is my graphic organizer. I created this graphic organizer earlier in the semester to model one of what I was learning at the time. As you can see, it is covering my standard for the semester, which was talking about details. So I felt that this accomplished that standard because as a teacher, I would model how to create this. I would then teach my students how to create it, and I would then divide them up into groups and allow them to create one for themselves. And this is a technology that I could use in any subject area: math, science, English, as I have demonstrated, or history. It is applicable all around school material and is a great way to teach your students and introduce them to technology. And as I said, after modeling it, I would have my students create one themselves. The second standard says to design and develop digital age learning experiences and assessments. A substandard of this is to design or adapt learning experiences and incorporate digital tools and resources to promote students' learning and creativity. So what stuck out to me in this standard was to incorporate resources that promote student learning and creativity. And I felt that this was accomplished through my web quest, because for the web quest I had to find a lot of resources, a lot of websites for my students to use in learning about details, practicing how to use details, how to find details, and then creating a story where they had to create their own details. So by providing my students with all of those resources, I was enriching their learning experiences, and I could use that web quest as an assessment. So here is what my web quest looks like. This is just the introduction page where I am talking about what they're doing, and they're going to have to use their investigative skills to learn about finding details in a text. And then once they're located, students will use them to describe a character, setting, or event. So on this, I have provided multiple sources for them to use, different websites for them to look at, like the dictionary website, YouTube videos to watch, and a passage for them to read. So I've incorporated a lot of resources for my students to use to enhance their learning. Standard 3 is to model digital age work and learning. A substandard of this discusses collaboration with peers, parents, and the community. I believe a good way to accomplish this is by setting up a Google Doc for parents, or even a Weebly like we created for this class. Both of these allow you as a teacher to present a lot of information to the public at once, but it keeps it private in a way that only you can set it to where only you are allowed to edit it. So this way you can have a way for your parents to connect with your class, see what their kids are doing in school. You can send out news bulletins, announcements, send out permission slips this way. It is a great way to stay connected with everybody, and when everyone is more connected, the students' learning experiences increases and their knowledge increases. Standard 4 says to promote and model digital citizenship and responsibilities. There are a lot of ways to accomplish this standard. For me, I believe the easiest way would be to have rules or standards and checklists for your students to use while online. This may be searching through and finding websites that are appropriate for school and appropriate for the material, and allowing your students to have a list of those websites before they get involved with the technology, or creating a checklist for your students to monitor their work as they're going through what they're doing. Just making your students aware of what the rules are and how to interact in the digital community will promote citizenship and responsibility. Finally, the last standard is to engage professional growth and leadership. This says to participate in local and global communities to explore creative applications of technology to improve student learning. This was accomplished, I believe, through the Web Tools 2.0 part of the semester. There was particularly one website that had a specific area for teachers to connect with teachers around the world to discuss ideas and methods, problems, and just to build a global community for teachers. I believe this is extremely important because there are methods that are used all around the world that are different than the methods we use here and maybe better than methods we are using here. So by engaging in this global community, we can provide our students with the best opportunity to learn. An overall reflection of this class and this project is that I'm so pleased to have been a part of this class. I have learned far more than I anticipated, and I learned a lot of practical skills to take into my classroom one day. In all honesty, I was a little angry to be taking a technology class because I believed that my schools would send me to technology seminars once I was hired, and I believe they still will, but coming into my first teaching year soon, I can see how knowing how to use these skills beforehand will really prepare me for my first year of teaching and give me the best opportunities to teach my students and create the best environment for them to learn in. So I'm very grateful to have been a part of this class, and I have learned so much. And that is my final presentation.